or a celebrity by any means, and he was beginning to ponder what other ways he could get attention. And then at this point, whatever attention it was that he got, he realized didn't exactly need to be good attention. I had to take a break from this story and look at a completely different set of serial killers to distract myself. That was my feel-good time. Like, away from this case, was looking at a different serial killer.
Literally anything
right.
could possibly be better.
On his own Facebook page, Magnotta had posted a link to a video called 3 Guys, 1 Hammer. The video shows 3 teenage boys brutally beating a man to death with a hammer, showing not 1 ounce of mercy, and the worst part is that the video is not fake, it's completely real. Viktor Sayenko, Igor Soprunyuk, and Alexander Hansa, who are collectively known as the Dnipropetrovsk maniacs. I'm sure you can imagine how much unsuspecting Facebook friends loved clicking on that link and being led to a snuff film, but it was about to get so much worse. Magnotta used that film as inspiration for what he was about to do next. Here's where I'm going to have to issue my trigger warning. It's a sore spot for me, but I really love animals, and it was rough for me to just read about it.
I feel like it's rough for literally anyone to even hear about it.
I want anyone who feels like they might be too sensitive for the subject matter to know that this is where it's headed. While I am trying to be as brief and delicate with it as possible, I do need to be a little descriptive so that people can understand truly what kind of awful human being we're talking about.
Yeah, I may or may not be stalling. I don't like this part. I don't like generally any of the rest of this. This kid is an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm sober for this. This is not acceptable.
Right around this time is the first time that I ugly cried while I was writing my notes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shortly before Christmas in 2010, a video was being widely distributed and hyped on message boards all over the internet. The video was called 1 Boy, 2 Kittens, and it showed a hooded male petting 2 very small, very adorable kittens. The man not only pets them, but he plays with them, and he cuddles the kittens, and he's very affectionate with them, and they're having such a good time, and you can tell that these kittens love him so much.
Because they're kittens, and kittens are adorable.
And then he places both of them into a big plastic bag, and he sucks the air out of it with a vacuum, and the camera continues to roll as the kittens slowly suffocate to death. After the kittens are dead, he pulls them out of the bag and picks them up and flips them over and holds their dead bodies very close to the camera. This time in the video he posted, the person in the video was Luka Magnotta himself. People were truly enraged, and within hours of the video going up, a Facebook group had already been formed to catch the man in the video, and the group had reached about 4,000 members in no time at all.
Why would you do that?
And the group was also being headed by a former, I think he was an army veteran. He was leading all of these people that wanted to catch this sick bastard. Other small groups of animal rights advocates and web sleuths were also trying to catch the man in the video as well.
Can we talk about how amazing web sleuths are most of the time, though?
Most of the time, they're amazing.
Yeah, sometimes they're fucking horrifically terrible.
Sometimes they get it wrong and they cause a lot of harm for innocent people.
Yeah.
24 hours after the first video had been posted, Magnotta posted 2 more similar videos and some photos online just to taunt the web sleuths and the groups who were trying to find out his identity and location. That's the kind of man he was. He would lash out and just try to taunt people. Magnotta began posting photos of himself and the kittens from the videos online. When the photos were originally posted before with the video 1 Boy, 2 Kittens, he had blurred out his face, and now he was posting photos with the kittens, the same ones where his face was blurred, but he had removed the blur on his face so that people could clearly see it.
But that's where he was posting it from another account as well, right?
He worked on so many different accounts, he was constantly hiding. It was very hard to track him down. After doing that, in an effort to draw even more attention to himself, Magnotta sent out messages and posted this online where all the people looking for his identity could see it. Quote, "The name of the kitten vacuumer you're looking for is Luka Magnotta. He was born in Russia, lives in Los Angeles, and has lived in several different countries. The apartment in the video is located in West Hollywood. Hope this helps. I'm 100% serious."
What a bastard.
None of that is true.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's clearly trying to throw people off of his trail and confuse people, but he's also trying so hard to make himself sound like this amazing worldly motherfucker in the process.
Right.
Although Magnotta had revealed his name and his face, he was still keeping his actual location in Canada a secret to protect himself from the possibility of legal prosecution.
Just sending out red herrings to make himself seem more important.
When these animal rights groups and web sleuths start doing their research on Luka Magnotta, because now they have his name and they're just typing it into Google to see what they can dig up, they were completely stunned. First off, there was a crazy wealth of content all over the internet about Luka Magnotta. There were so many pictures of him sporting completely different looks. Websites had all these tall tales in which he claimed to have ties with serial killers and the Russian mob. He claimed to be a successful male model. He said he had a house in Paris. He claimed to have multiple expensive sports cars. And he made statements about how others would judge him for his sympathizing with white supremacists.
Oh, I don't remember that. Also, if you're a white supremacist, we like all people, but not you.
My name is Ty, and I support that statement. And what most of these groups really marveled at, though, was how he made it obnoxiously clear that he truly believed he was some kind of celebrity. So they found all of these posts and comments that were supposedly written by fans, but they were obviously really written and planted by Magnotta himself. And these posts made crazy comments saying things like, quote, Luka is the Prince of Canada. He's a god here.
That is clearly not true. It's not like the internet was not available at that time.
In case somebody hasn't caught on to this yet, he has so many accounts on so many different platforms. He's all over the web. And not even under his own name. Just, he literally has fan accounts to try to boast himself. He had hundreds of profiles on YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, all these other social media sites for himself and for his supposed fans. And there are all of these photos where he is supposedly driving these expensive sports cars. He's in exotic locations. He's in hot tubs surrounded by incredibly attractive friends. But the photos were fake.
And not even well faked.
No.
Like the black line around him.
He had photoshopped his face over the people in the original photos. And the Animal Beta Project, which is a group of activists who target animal abusers online and try to have them prosecuted, they actually went ahead and they found the original photos posted by the original people. And that's how they knew that his face was superimposed over the photos. He's way too vain to not post photos of himself, though. So even though he had all these fake ones out there because he thought he was just like so good looking, he was actually at the same time posting real photos of himself as well. The photoshopping as a photo major, it's so bad. He just put his head, just his head, on other people's bodies. He didn't resize it to the right shape or the right scale. Here's this giant ass floating head on top of some random person's shoulders. There's a flash on it, but the person in the photo is on a beach in broad daylight.
There was a photo that was blown up, and it's like those little head things that you see on boardwalks where you can put your head through, and then you're just whatever. You're a very fancy lady or a dapper gent.
Or you're like Attila the Hun or something.
Yeah, or like at the zoo, you're like I don't know, I was a tiger
giraffe.
Once, yeah.
Oh. You'd be the tiger, I'd be the giraffe.
I mean, you would be a giraffe. I don't think I'm cool enough to be a tiger. I would if they had a sloth one, I would be in that every day.
Here's what it is. You'd be a sloth.
Yeah.
And I would want to be an elephant because elephants are majestic. So here's the incredible thing about all of the actual photos that he had posted of himself, not the fake ones that he was superimposing himself into. There's this thing that we talk about a whole lot, Whitney, and it's called metadata.
Yes.
So they could tell by looking at the metadata on the photos when they were taken. They could see the location in which many of them had been taken. And they could even see the brand, model, and color of his camera, which was pink, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
What really screwed him over, though, was a photo that was posted online that was taken off of a cell phone. That cell phone had GPS location stamped on it, and that's how they found out that Luka Magnotta was in Toronto.
Duh, because he's the god of Canada.
He's a god here in Canada. So the Animal Beta Project, now having a name, photos, and a location, contacted the Ontario SPCA and the Ontario Police in Toronto. and then they gave them the information that they had collected thus far. So the police took the case very seriously at the time, and so did the OSPCA, because they realized that oftentimes when people hurt animals, it frequently escalates to them hurting children or just other adults.
Right, serial killer, bingo, boom, boom.
The problem was that police couldn't find any address tied to Magnotta's name, and they searched for about 8 months, and after those 8 months had gone by, they still could not locate him in the city of Toronto, and the case was becoming less of a priority because of that. And unfortunately, Magnotta knew that the police weren't even close to catching him, and in an effort to garner more attention and further taunt members of the Animal Beta Project, Magnotta sent members of the group privately more videos of him torturing and killing kittens before he released them online afterwards. And in one of the videos, he fed a kitten to a python, and in another one, he duct taped a kitten to a piece of wood and repeatedly dunked it and drowned it in a bathtub full of water. And the kitty was so cute.
I feel like at this time too, and this might just be my recollection because I remember that there was this crazy story that came out where there was this fetish where people were in high heels and stuff like that and smooshing.
Oh God, I know.
So he figured maybe jump on that train.
I remember back in the day hearing briefly that that was a thing and just wanting to know absolutely nothing about it because I was horrified. In July of 2011, 33-year-old Jun Lin had moved from rural China to attend college in Montreal at Concordia University as part of an exchange student program, and he went there to get his degree in computer science. He was the pride and the hope of his entire family, and the plan was that once Junlin had graduated, he would support his parents and his younger sister back in China with his new career.
Right.
Although Junlin was clearly an adult, he was 33 years old. His mother, who he was very close with, and he was close with his father too, was super worried about him living in a foreign city all by himself. It was common for Jun to walk down the streets of Montreal with his phone in his hand, streaming images back to his mother so she could see that he was okay.
If you're coming from a more rural place, even if you're living in the same state, going to the big city can be really daunting. Not only is he in a completely different country, he came from really rural and now he's in a big old city. I could see being terrified as a parent.
I can see it too. I totally understand it. But I'm just trying to highlight how frequently they would talk and how tight they were. Meanwhile, Magnotta has fled Toronto, and he's now sending out and posting new videos. People had been hunting for Magnotta for about a year at this point. He had posted all of these fake stories online, and he had sent messages to people saying that he had fled to Russia. And he did all of that in an attempt to throw police and people looking for him off of his trail. Videos were being produced and distributed by groups wanting Magnotta to be caught. The videos showed multiple photos of him with many of his different looks, and listed some of the different aliases that he was known to go by, in the hopes that people would see it and they would be able to identify him. The story even made its way to Europe. In fact, the UK Sun published an article urging people to help catch, quote, the sicko who fed a kitten to a python. 2 days after the article came out, Luka Magnotta was in London and strolled right into the Sun's office wanting an interview with a reporter. Go figure.
Which he's clearly already done before.
In the interview, Magnotta claims that it's not him in the videos and someone is trying to frame him and tie his name to all of this somehow. He denied having any link to the videos, but the interviewer did not believe him, and this interview did not go well for him.
No kidding.
The reporter basically just called him out on being a total liar. It was truly an embarrassing interview. 2 days after that, the Sun received this email, quote, "It's fun watching people work so hard, gathering all the evidence, then not being able to catch me. You see, I always win. I always hold the trump card, and I will continue to make more movies. Next time you hear from me, it will be in a movie I'm producing that will have some humans in it, not just pussies." The London police were notified of this email immediately after the Sun had received it, but the police said that it was out of their jurisdiction and there wasn't anything that they could do.
But it's not out of their jurisdiction.
If it's not in your jurisdiction, maybe you help find whose jurisdiction it is in.
Yeah, how fun is that? Like where you can be like, hey, it's not ours, but you can call this number.
Yeah. After that, Luka did what he was best at. He disappeared. There were no credit cards or paper trails to link him to, and for people searching for him, things began to look dismal. However, he had been posting photos of himself online, and one of those photos was in front of some very unique-looking streetlights. The Animal Beta Project researchers and web sleuths from all of the other groups who were looking for him became increasingly determined